Okay, we've been discussing compare and contrast as a rhetorical mode. We talked in the last video about how there are two different methods we can use for compare and contrast, subject by subject and point by point. So I have two paragraphs written for you. They were written by students, and what I would like for you to do is take a moment to pause the video, right, not now when I tell you to, pause the video, read the paragraph, and I want you to look for a few things. First, I want you to find the topic sentence. I want you to find the supporting points. And then I want you to decide which method is it using, subject by subject or point by point. Now, if you're not comfortable reading this paragraph on the screen, I do have it available as a handout in the module. So whatever's more comfortable for you. But go ahead and I'm going to review again what I want you to look for. The topic sentence, the supporting points, and then decide which method is it using, subject by subject or point by point. So go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, so hopefully you've taken a moment and read through the paragraph. Now let's look at some things in the paragraph. Now first, where is our topic sentence? It's right here. It's actually not the very first sentence in this paragraph, it's the second sentence. Working at a bank and waiting tables are two very different jobs, and perhaps surprisingly, I enjoyed waiting tables more. Does this have the two components of a topic sentence that we need? We need the limited topic, and in a compare and contrast, that's going to be the two subjects that are being compared and contrasted. What are the limited topics here? Working at a bank and waiting tables. Do we have an idea or attitude about those two jobs that we're talking about? Yes, we're saying that you enjoyed waiting tables more. So I expect the rest of the paragraph to be reasons why waiting tables was the better job. Now, if I had simply said there are differences and similarities between working at a bank and waiting tables, that would not be a good topic sentence, because while it does mention the two subjects being compared, there's no idea or attitude. Saying that there are similarities and differences is just too general. We could say that about almost anything. So it doesn't really give us an idea of what the paragraph will be about. Now, how did you find the supporting points? Well, if you remember when we've talked about transitions in previous modules, if you can find the transition words or phrases, those will usually show you your main supporting points. Because I have first, working at a bank meant helping a lot of different customers each day. So that's our first supporting point. Next, the work was repetitive and tedious. Finally, the pay was only a little better than minimum wage. Now we have a sentence here that moves us from talking about the bank to working at the restaurant. My job, remove that. Maybe I can remove it. Okay. My job as a server, on the other hand, was very different. That phrase, on the other hand, tells the reader that we're switching from topic A to topic B. Let's see. Where is our next transition? While I waited on many customers at this job as well, they were usually much happier. So here, customers is our supporting point. Secondly, there's another transition. The job was fast-paced like the bank, but it was anything but repetitive. And then we have another transition, finally. While technically I was paid less than minimum wage, the tips more than made up for it. So you'll notice that I've got the same basic supporting points up here, customers, repetitive work, and pay. And then as I have in the second half, I have customers, fast-paced work, and the pay. So the same supporting points are presented in the same order. So which method is this using? Is this subject by subject or point by point? Well, this is an example of subject by subject, because in subject by subject, we spend the first half talking about subject A, and then we pivot and spend the rest talking about subject A. So the first half of our paragraph is all about working at the bank. We don't really mention the restaurant at all. We're just giving 3 supporting points about what the job at the bank was like. And then we have that sentence, on the other hand, that tells us that we pivot and we talk about subject B, which is the job as a server. And we use the same basic supporting points in the same order. All right, so here's a good example of a subject by subject structure. So now I have another paragraph for us to take a look at, and I want us to do the same thing. Go ahead and read the paragraph, decide where is the topic sentence, what are my supporting points and how do you find them, and then is this an example of subject by subject or point by point structure? So go ahead and pause the video and take a look at this paragraph. Okay, well, let's take a look at this paragraph together. North and South Louisiana are very different places. So there is our topic sentence. So I know that my limited topic is North Louisiana and South Louisiana. Those are my 2 basic subjects. And the idea is that they are very different. So I know that this paragraph is going to focus more on the contrast side of things. So where are my supporting points? Well, I have this transition. First of all, while both regions are predominantly Christian, the South is mostly Catholic, North is mostly Protestant. Then we have another is my second transition, where we talked about the food and the cuisine. And then we have, let's see, one final difference is my last transition, where we talk about Mardi Gras. So here are my 3 supporting points, the religion, the food, and Mardi Gras. So is this an example of subject by subject or point by point? Well, here we have subject by subject because we are talking about both North and South Louisiana throughout the whole paragraph. We're not organizing this paragraph by our 2 subjects. We're not dividing the paragraph in half. Instead, we're using our 3 supporting points to organize the paragraph. We talk about religion, and we talk about North Louisiana, South Louisiana. And then we talk about food, and we talk about South Louisiana, North Louisiana. I said that backwards the first time. And then we talk about Mardi Gras, South Louisiana, North Louisiana. So this is a good example of that the point by point structure. So now that you've seen both structures, hopefully this makes sense to you and you can practice writing, compare, and contrast on your own.